He's funny. I'm Lisa Haisha. Welcome to the Legacy Series. Today we have Larry Benet with us, and it's very exciting. I met Larry about a year ago, but we just recently started becoming friends, and he is one of the most interesting people I have ever met. He is a connector. Do you even know what a connector is? Probably not. A lot of people don't, at least at his level. He created a network that includes people like Tony Robbins and Jack Canfield and many others, and he helps people to realize their dreams. And if you want to be successful or you want to do something big, bigger than you ever thought of, Larry's your guy. He's going to teach you how to do it. He can coach you. You can come to his big speaking events called Sang, and we're going to learn more about that right now. Hi, Larry.
Hi. So I feel blessed to be on the soul-blazing couch.
Yes.
After all this time, the soul-blazing, the power of the couch.
Yes, you look good here, too.
Thank you. I wanted to wear orange so it would match the room.
Yes, and it matches the pillows
That's
and the
right.
couch. Beautiful.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I'm so excited to have you here because you have so much information. Just talking to you as a friend, I feel like I learned so much. And you're someone who truly cares about others and wants to make a difference, and you know how to do it. So I want you to share some secrets with our audience.
Right. How many secrets are we talking about?
Not them all.
Okay.
We can't share everything, but just a few.
Yeah.
So a few key ones.
But you know, I will say this: if you think about in life to get ahead, normally no one has ever accomplished anything great all by themselves. So that's very unlikely, and therefore, you know, according to like the Gallup, for example, they say the #1 predictor of career success is the quality of one's relationships. But when you meet most people in business, they tend to be very focused on their goals, their objectives,
Yes.
their dreams, their aspirations. And actually, it's a lot easier to go connect and build really rich relationships with anyone if you focus on serving others, getting to know them first, and just really adding value. So really, if you think about the key to connecting, the key to building dynamic relationships, and ones that will serve you for the rest of your life or your business or
Yes.
whatever goal objective you want, and you can achieve anything faster, I believe. What Zig Ziglar said, help enough people with their dreams, you know, you'll get whatever you want faster, and it's so very true. And
why do most people feel it's the opposite? They say, how do I have time to worry about other people's problems? That's their problem. I need to focus on me.
Well, it's very true. I mean, I think most people have a scarcity mentality, #1. #2, they just think it's going to take a lot of time, effort, and energy on their part because they got to focus on what they do. But at the end of the day, if you focus on whatever your goals, whatever everyone's business might be a little different. But what, you know, think about it. If you're trying to get your child into a private school, chances are you wouldn't, you know, if you've got a good relationship with someone to get into the door, that'll help. If you need, and we're close to Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, your husbands and you guys have been very active in Hollywood. A lot of your clients, they always say it's not what you know. A lot of times it's who you know. But to me, it's not only what and who; it's how well you know them. How much value have you created for someone? Have you given first? And so, to me, it is a better, not only business strategy, but a life strategy to go serve others first. Give. You know, give again, and you'll find people much more receptive to wanting to help you.
Yes. How did you get started?
How did I get started? You know, back in the mid-1990s, I was involved in the technology industry, and at the time I was just in sales for a company called the Gartner Group, and at that same time period, I was the president of the Southeastern Software Association, and it was very hard to get access to these CEOs. I mean, their companies were growing incredibly quick and very fast. And one of the things I learned was by me connecting some of the CEOs to each other, or introducing a VP of sales to someone who is a sales executive, or someone in the marketing department, just to each other, I found I've created a lot of goodwill, and I was able to continue getting access. I always say you can get access to anyone once. Can you get called back again? Can you be considered a trusted advisor to others? And so even though at the time I was just a sales professional, I had more C-level access than probably all my peers combined. And I look back now, because I'm working on a book, I realized back then what I was doing is I was creating a lot of connection currency, a lot of relationship capital. And so by serving these folks in multitude of ways, you know, good things were happening for me, both from a sales perspective. I was able to short circuit sales cycles. I was able to do bigger sales. I had more access to the right people when I needed it, because I was able to build trust. And so if you serve others and you give things of value and you're just generous in nature, and generally some people might be listening, well, I don't have anything to give. It might be just listening. You know, we just found out today that, you know, Robin Williams passed away.
Yes.
If someone is a good listener, they might be able to pick up someone is battling depression or going through a difficult time or going through a career transition, and just by being a better listener or sharing a piece of wisdom or advice at that moment in time, that might make all the difference in the world for that individual.
Oh, absolutely. How would you define yourself? Who are you, and what do you do in the world? Like, what do you want to be?
Yeah.
Not your legacy, but what do you want to be known for? Like, what do you do? When I heard about Larry Benet, I heard about you through several big speaking events. Oh, do you know Larry? Oh, you must know Larry. Oh, I don't know Larry. Oh, you must know Larry. The next event, you must know Larry. I don't know Larry. Who is Larry? Then you ended up at my party,
Yeah,
my 4th of July party. I'm like, you are Larry. This is amazing. You're actually in my house, you know, whoa. Because you have such a great reputation. Everyone says, God, Larry helped me do this. Larry connected me to this person, or Larry did this, or Larry did that. So to me right now, you are known as being a really nice guy who reaches out beyond what anyone else does to help people connect. Even when we met, you hooked me up with an agent.
Right.
And the agent, it looks like I'm
For
going to
your
get a book deal.
Yeah.
But I just met you, and you're like, oh, you would be good with this person. All of a sudden, I may have a book deal when I've been working on this book for a year and a half.
But I'll give you a perfect example, just using you now.
Yeah.
We just met. You had indicated, you shared with me your book project.
Yes.
And I'm like, you know, I think there's a publisher that I know
Yes.
that would be a good publisher for you. Let me introduce you to my agent, because I asked, do you have a book agent? And you said no. So it wasn't like, I didn't ask myself, what can I get from Lisa? That's not the question I'm thinking. I'm just saying, I heard, you know, we just met. I understood a little bit about what you were working on. And to me, if you can, and going back to what is it that I do, I think who I am and what I do are kind of one and the same.
Yes.
I don't.
That's what I was getting at for you.
I try to connect people. I try to make a difference in their life. And the reality is, how you make a difference and how you connect might be different. There might be people that might read my newsletter or an article, because it's very difficult to go reach, you know, thousands of people on an individual basis. There might be someone you just meet one time. You know, I see someone who might be homeless on the street, and not only maybe do I give them money or some food or whatever, but I try to talk to them to understand, you know, what's going on in their world, so to try to make a difference. In the business world, like I said, you know, we created Sang years ago, and you know, we brought a lot of the speaker and author networking group, and like you mentioned, we've had the good fortune of having the likes of the Tony Robbins and the Jack Canfields and the Tony Shays of Zappos and many other remarkable thought leaders. As a matter of fact, what's interesting is on April 1st, I think 2006, I was selectively outsourced, which is a nice way of saying I was fired or let go. And within a short period of time, I had a chance, I read the book, The Secret, from John Asseroff, who was one of my mentors, said, read this book. And at the time I was really frustrated, angry, and just not really happy with what just took place, because I had a good paying corporate job and they just yanked it right away from me. And then about a week later, after I said, all right, I'll read this book, I'll focus on what I want, being positive, this, that, the other thing, I had a chance from someone who I'd never met before. They're like, would you like to ask Donald Trump a question? I'm like, well, that'd be great. And the question that I asked Trump was, how did he handle adversity and pressure? Because it happened at a time for me, things were you know, challenging. And he shared his answers. It was interesting. The person behind me asked Mr. Trump, what would you do, Mr. Trump, if you lost all your money? And Trump said, I'm going to be rich. That's all there is to it. Next question. Typical Trump. Right. You know, bravado. I was like, wow. But for me, I had like a light bulb moment. So I'm sure we all have light bulb moments. But for me, my light bulb moment was, you know what? It doesn't matter who I try to connect with, whether it's a homeless person, a sales executive, a CEO, or someone like a Richard Branson, an iconic business mogul. The art of connecting is one and the same. It's really about, you know, initially making a connection, and then how can you serve them and add value. And literally within probably 30 to 60 days of that conversation with Trump and the light bulb moment, I met Sir Richard Branson. Met him at a charity function. As a matter of fact, the lady that did Spanx, she had a charity function. And I saw him on the dance floor. He's like my all-time business idol. And I did a lot of research, asking myself, what could I say to him that would engage someone of him, maybe just even for another conversation or a follow-up. And I invited him and someone, an executive from his company, to attend something that I thought would be of value to him. And within about 20 to 30 seconds, I ended up getting his email. I didn't realize it was his private email at the time. But it was all because it was something of win-win, something of value for him. I met Larry King 60, 90 seconds at another charity event, was nice enough to get invited to a connect with him. But I helped him raise some money, and I helped Richard Branson raise money for their charities, because that's what they were focused in at that time. So going back, it's really about connecting. It's all about making a difference. And as you create more relationship capital, more connection currency, you'll find it's a lot easier to get whatever you want.
Okay, can you explain something to me? Because this is a question I get is, husbands and wives or business partners will say, my partner or my spouse or my something is always out lunching with people, always making connections and always just socializing and never gets work done. So what is the fine line between connecting and always helping others but not helping yourself?
Sure. Well, a couple things. I've learned you can't help everyone. I think you should always be nice. I do think you should be generous if you come in contact with someone. I believe it's better to pick your battles and invest in key relationships. They talk about Pareto's principles, the 80-20 principle. Most people go out networking and they're just all over the place and they're meeting all sorts of people. Yeah. That is not what I do at all. What I do is I try to strategically understand the marketplace that I want to serve. And I want to understand who are some of the relationships that I want to have. And then I really figure out how can I serve those people. So when we were starting saying, for example, in that author-speaker market, I realized there were certain leaders in the marketplace, whether it be the Jack Canfields or other folks. And at the end of the day, like I said, there's thousands of speakers. There's thousands of authors. But at the end of the day, if you think about the author publishing world, for example, there's probably only a handful of people, if you really needed to, if you really knew them, you could pretty much get to anyone that you want because of how influential they are. And so I would focus on adding value to those people, constantly connecting, constantly being generous with acts of kindness and trying to figure out different ways I could serve them or invite them to different events or something that might be meaningful or for them.
But then what do you do with all your friends who are not going to add value to your career, your pocketbook?
I'll give you a perfect example. At your party the other night, there was two people that were comedians. Yakov Smirnoff, a friend of mine, and then Suzanne Wang, I think. So they both have upcoming shows here in LA. So what I'm going to do, I will probably post on my Facebook, hey, if anyone wants to go on this date and this date, let me know. And then I'll probably send out an email to all the people that I know in the LA, San Diego corridor saying, hey, this might be a fun night. So how can you arrange events?
They're going to be performing together?
No, they're performing on different nights.
Okay.
I'm just saying,
yes,
I'm going to go.
Fun nights.
I'm going to go try to support them. I don't care. It's not like I'm trying to gain anything from Yakov. It's not like I'm trying to gain anything from Suzanne. I'm just saying they're in my network. How can I support them? I'm sure driving attendance to their show would probably be appreciated. So I could do that via social media. I do understand who in my network lives in LA or what have you. So I think one of the keys is everyone knows relationships are important. They might meet a lot of people. The main reason most people don't follow up effectively, they're not organized. They don't have either the right technology, they don't either have the right systems or the processes to be able to do these things. So for example, I could...
So it's overwhelming. Oh, how can I even follow? Or they'll say it and then they don't follow through, which is worse.
Right. So let's just say I wanted to invite just speakers that I know or authors in the LA San Diego corridor. I could literally pull out either my iPhone or my CRM system and figure out LA, author, or speakers, and it'll pull up a list for me. And then I could just invite just those people if I wanted to just focus on that.
Can you explain what that is, a CRM?
So a CRM system is a customer relationship management tool. So companies like Salesforce or Infusionsoft or Act or Sales, there's a lot of different companies that are out there. But it's just a way of managing your relationships. There's a company called Contactually. I think if you go to connectwithcontactually.com, transformative.com. I think they probably even have like a free month. But it's just, you know, because not all relationships are created equal. The reality is if you and I have a conversation, you're going to Barcelona, it's one thing to hear something. It's another thing to act upon it. So now that I know maybe you're going to Barcelona, maybe what I'll do is send you an article. Hey, I just saw this cool thing, the 10 top things to do when you go visit Barcelona. Because that would be of value to you. Maybe there's something that, on how to learn Spanish faster, because you and your daughter are going to go learn Spanish. Well, that might be of value. So now that I know that, I will add in the phone something about Barcelona or Spain or, you know, or something about that. So it's how are things tagged, so you could be smarter every single time you have a conversation with someone. So for example, someone might say when their birthday is, someone might say when their anniversary is. It's a whole nother, it's another art and science to put the birthday into the iPhone or to put the anniversary into the iPhone, and then to go take it another step. Like on every single day I wake up, on any given day, there's several people in my network that are having birthdays and anniversaries. I like to call people, or I'll do a little video on my iPhone, and I will sing them happy birthday and, you know, send it to them. So again, you may have heard someone say it's their birthday. You may have heard someone tell you a fact, but are you taking the information and putting it somewhere so you can remember it or recall it?
So what are some ways that people could actually implement that? Because again, people have such a wide network of friends that have nothing to do with their business. You know, their Aunt Sally and Uncle Jack and their friends from high school and their neighbors. And they go, well, I like these people and I want to hang out with them too. And I've heard several leaders, teachers say, well, you have to put those to the side or just continue those relationships or put them on the back burner because you have to focus on the ones that are going to move you forward, or that otherwise you'll never make it. Don't waste time with them. What are they doing for your career? So I think you're trying to balance something. You don't have to get rid of everyone that can't help you, but if you are organized and have a strategic plan, you could still implement the small little things, like it comes up on Skype, so-and-so's birthday, just sending something. So how do you do it? Do you recommend 30 minutes in the morning doing connections? Like 3 tips or something?
Yeah, you could literally take 15 to 20 minutes a day, and we're not talking a whole lot of time here, but if you literally took just that amount of time and you were organized in your network, you know, obviously there's certain people, to me there's something that I call trigger events. There's personal trigger events, there's business trigger events. A personal trigger event might be a birthday, an anniversary, a social occasion, a graduation. Those are personal trigger events. A business trigger event, someone gets a career promotion, maybe they just made a film, maybe their book just came out, they got, you know, whatever. Those are business items. So those are going to be trigger events. I just found out one of my friends back in Atlanta, again, he's my client from 15 years ago. He, you know, recently, like about 6 months ago, he sold one of his companies for $100 million. That's a trigger event. He just invested some money into a new startup. That's a trigger event. I'm going to reach out to him. And so going back to your cousin Sally, you know, obviously they may not be able to help you as much in business, but you never know. You never know who they know. So the biggest mistake people make is they don't invest into the relationships well before they need them. So a lot of times if someone's in a career transition kind of situation, or if they need access to someone, so for example, you and your husband both have access to probably a lot of things going on in Hollywood because of the nature of your business. So if someone hasn't seen you or talked to you or met you or whatever in years, and then all of a sudden they call you up and say, hey, can you introduce me to so-and-so, a big agent in Hollywood or a big director or whatever, you may not be feeling so good about that, and you may not be as generous to want to open the door. On the other hand, if someone's been very generous to you, chances are more likely you might be willing to want to help them. So going back to trigger events and simple little tips. One, it's how you organize your network. So there's personal friends, there might be family type of relationships. There's then on business relationships. So for example, this is how I would classify you, for example. You're a friend, you're also an author, you're also a speaker, you're also a spiritual and transformational leader. I will put your location, LA, Sherman Oaks. So for example, I might be on a certain site, like LA is pretty big. So I'll give you another example. If I travel down to San Diego, if someone lives in Rancho Santa Fe, California, that's where they live. But if I'm driving down and it's a last minute thing and I want to throw together a quick networking dinner or a cocktail, I'm not going to be able to remember everyone that's in Rancho Santa Fe, La Jolla, this, that, and the other. So what I do is I put San Diego, because that's the main hub, but I also put Rancho Santa Fe, but it'll pull up by their location. So I could do this in my iPhone, and so can everyone else. And these are things that we teach, so it's easier to do. But if you think about how you break down certain relationships, then you could, if you wanted to reach out to all your author friends once a month and send them an article that you find might be valuable, that's something one can do. But you have to be organized in such a way to be able to do that. So it's how you classify and systematize and document. So for example, everyone, to me, like, do they have a strategic relationship plan in place? Most people don't.
Right.
85 or 87% of executives in the workforce attribute having strong relationships to achieving goals, achieving revenue goals. Yet less than like 10% actually have a systematic plan to advance the relationship. So for example, what events are you going to go to that you can go connect with the key people in your network? What kind of events could you invite other people to that would be of value for them? So there's going to be some events you want to have them where it's really small, where like you and I went to breakfast a couple times.
Yes. That was a small event.
No, but what I'm saying is, so it's a much better way having a one-on-one conversation where we can have a deeper, more meaningful relationship. But at the same token, I met you at your 4th of July party, and I got a chance. We got a chance to know each other a little bit.
Yes.
Not that much.
Yeah, especially at parties, it's more difficult.
But for example, sometime thereafter, I hosted a couple of mastermind functions and a dinner party or two for Russ Whitney, who is another spiritual thought leader. And I thought that would be of some value for you to be there for some of the people and then connect with Russ. So that's an event that I was hosting that I can invite you to, that you would get some value from because of some of the people that were there, or maybe for some of the ideas or content that was shared. And that's why I'm saying, but if you're not organized, it's going to be very hard to go, okay, who do I know? Who's in my network? Who should go to this event? Or what should I send them if it's just a blank slate?
Yes, it's overwhelming, and you may not ever even do it because
it's incredibly
you keep
overwhelming.
putting it off.
Right. And so literally, if someone, if I find out someone goes to college at UCLA or USC or Notre Dame or Florida State, which is where I went, I'll make a note of that. And during the college football season, if something good happens to someone that went to Notre Dame or they won a bowl game, I'll reach out. There's a gentleman that runs one of the largest speaker bureaus in the United States. I would love to have him represent me. He's represented a couple presidents of the United States, and he's done very well. Well, him and I met at a Washington Redskin Denver Bronco game. Now, I didn't do this every single weekend of the NFL season, but there were multiple times throughout that season. If something happened with Washington Redskins, I would text him something funny or make a comment about it. So going back to try to figure out what are people's passions. It's way easier to connect with someone around their passions. Some people, love jogging. Some people love hiking. Some people love tennis. So if they love tennis, is there something about the U.S. Open that you can invite them to or reconnect with them around something like that? And so, I track and I'll put, tennis in. So if I wanted to go do something at the U.S. Open, now I know at least some of the people in my network that are tennis nuts, and it's going to be a little bit easier to kind of do that.
That's
versus
amazing.
just randomly out of thousands of people go, well, who would be good to invite to that?
That's how you built your reputation.
Google owns pay-per-click. I've always said I own pay-per-compliment. If you compliment enough people, you pay them enough money, they'll always say good things. But actually, if you make enough strategic introductions, or if you put on situations or environments that actually do help people and make a difference in their life, I really think that makes a huge difference.
The events I went to, your masterminds, the ones you were just mentioning, people really got good value out of that.
Yeah.
They really came away saying, did you get this? I met this person, I met that person. And so they really do work. You really do know how to, cast a marketing meeting or mastermind. Really know how to bring the right people in a room who will click and get along, and it could be a quid pro quo.
I think whether you run a corporation, you have a small business, you're an author or a speaker, no matter what kind of business you're in, I think one of the best strategies anyone can put together is host some form of peer-to-peer kind of an event. Whether it's for your clients, you can invite your prospects, but to me, it's not even about you. It's about other people
Yes.
coming together and the ideas that they can share. And the more value that it's able to create, it's just a simple way in a short period of time to create a lot of. As a matter of fact, the 2 events that you attended of mine, the one in LA and San Diego, initially those were going to be dinners, strictly just dinners. And then I said to myself, heck, we have so many sharp, successful people coming. What if I just for a couple hours put them in a room, a boardroom setting, and we'll have a mastermind and share some ideas. So if they just want to come to dinner, they can come to dinner. But if they want to come to that, look at the amount of value add that can happen in a short period of time, especially if you got a lot of sharp, smart people, each sharing one best practice or 2 or whatever it might be.
Yes, it worked.
Yeah.
So how do people reach you?
Well,
And
I mean,
if they do reach you, what would you do for them? I mean, I know you're kind of a coach, but now I know you put on these big events, but if someone wanted to meet you directly and hire you
they could go,
to help their business, what do they do?
They could just go to our website, larrybenet.com, or they could go to something like freegiftsfromlarry.com where they could download
Free gifts?
We give away free gifts, lots of free gifts, yeah.
I want to go there.
That's right. No, but we have we have some reports where they can learn how to connect with anyone. I talk about how I connect with Richard Branson and Larry King and some of these other people, and it just really
But
depends.
can someone hire you to?
Yeah, I mean, we do coaching, we do consulting, and we run mastermind groups, and we have events, where we bring various people together. But if they just go to the larrybenet.com website or the sayingevents.com website, they can learn more.
Okay, and when you say we, do you have a team?
Yeah, I mean, it's me, and obviously there's different people, that I work with and collaborate with and stuff like that. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if someone wanted to reach you and work with you solely, they could go to your website.
They could, or they could just email me at larrybenet.com, and I would definitely put per Lisa Haisha, so we know, because I get a lot of emails. I think I'm sitting with like 65,000 emails in my inbox. So
oh my God.
I'm not. I need to get more organized like you.
Yeah.
You're like one of the most organized people that I think I've met. So.
Well, it's so important, and I have my moments where it's not.
Yeah.
But I have the systems in place where I could go, okay, I just went on this 3-day trip and I'm back, and I'm going this trip and that. So it kind of goes, whoa, all the paperwork and emails pile up. But I have a system to get back to ground zero. Right. Absolutely, because I could not do what I'm doing without it. But we talked about how you connect. We talked about what you do with saying and how they could reach you. What else do you have to offer someone, like 3 tips on just if someone's just starting, getting out of college, or someone works in a corporate job and saying, I just can't do this anymore. I want to do what Larry does. I want to just get out there and write a book. I want to get it published, or I want to start my own business. How would you advise them?
Well, 2 things. Whether someone's just in college and looking to go get a job, whether someone's in a career transition kind of setting, or for that matter, they just want to rise up to be a much more successful entrepreneur, or rise up the corporate ladder.
Or they lost everything and now they're starting from scratch.
It doesn't matter. It's the same formula. Number 1, I would figure out what are they most passionate about. I think it's going to be very difficult for anyone to go do something long-term, no matter how much money is associated with, unless they're passionate about it. So that's number 1. Second, I would try to figure out and identify truly what your greatest strengths are and where your genius lies. Things that you do that just naturally come easy and time flies. So that's the second thing. So like a book by like Marcus Buckingham, for example, Now Discover My Strengths. That would be a good book so someone could figure out their strengths. So figure out your passions and then your strengths. The third thing, or a couple other things, is who do you know that's already doing what you want to do? And how do you get in as close proximity to that individual as possible? So in some cases, you can literally learn from the people themselves, whether it's you or me or others, and you can get access to them through seminars or books or tapes or CDs or online video learning or what have you. Other people, they might just be superstars in business, so the chances of them teaching may not be good, but they have favorite charities that perhaps you can volunteer your time. Perhaps you can volunteer your time. If I wanted to make it as an agent in Hollywood, I would try to figure out how do I get in close proximity to Ari Emanuel or someone at William Morris or someone at CAA, and what do I got to do to volunteer or help that individual in some way, shape, or form? Because that person has different kind of relationships and they have a lot of different expertise. And so if you can figure out the expertise and the model or the blueprint that they have followed, success leaves clues. You can figure it out quicker, faster, better. And then a lot of times it's the network and it's the relationships. That's why if you're in these circles, and that's why I think dealing with nonprofits and making a difference and helping people on their passion projects is the way to go.
Yes, and I know you want to do that too.
Yeah, I mean, I love, for me,
passion
I really want to help, a lot of the homeless transition and get back up on their feet, as well as the military vets when they come back to transition back into their feet. And so to me, a lot of them may not have the right networking skills or the business skills, and I think that's something that I can lend a hand. And more importantly, my connecting ability, I want to do that. I want to take the nonprofits, I want to take the governmental agencies, I want to take the entrepreneurs and the corporations that care and put them in small rooms or bigger rooms and facilitate idea sharing and best practices. Here in LA, there's an organization called Chrysalis, and I first found out about this through the founder of John Paul Mitchell, John Paul DiGiorgio.
Oh.
He told me about Chrysalis, and they do great work and help people that are homeless, get a job, or they put them to work. There's a guy named Carlos Slim, the wealthiest guy in Mexico. He's got something called the Homeless World Cup, and he has these homeless folks, play soccer to build self-esteem. And there's all these organizations that do wonderful work. I always wonder, do these organizations even know about each other and the kind of things that they're doing? So 1 + 1 can equal 11.
Yes.
So I think over time, my connecting abilities will allow me to connect the dots and share best practices, just like it has, and just like I have in the thought leader community and entrepreneur community, sharing of best practices so people can make a difference in their businesses and grow. And that's kind of where my passion lies, around the nonprofits with the homeless. And for that matter, just for charities in general, to get better at, instead of just asking for money all the time, get more creative ways to add more value to the business community. And if you create more value for the business community, I think the business community will give back more. If you create more sales, it's kind of like the Tom Shoes model. They're able to, every pair of shoes goes out, they're able to, give one away. That's good business.
Yes. Okay, so you're working on a book.
Yep.
What's the name of your book? When is it coming out?
What would you like the book title to be called? No.
Connecting with Larry.
Could be that. No. Right now, tentatively, it's called Connection Currency. Okay. The fastest way to get what you want in business and in life. Not exactly sure if that'll be the final title, because we're going to go test.
Of course.
But the concept is definitely just that. Whatever you want in life, whatever you want in business, you can accomplish faster when you create more connection currency, when you create more relationship capital, when you give back, when you help others.
Wonderful. And what do you want your legacy to be?
What do I want my legacy to be? I think just that, my ability of really making a difference for others, and teaching others how to a better way of life and a better way of business is connecting and giving first, and serving others and adding value is far superior way of building relationships and achieving one's goals than trying to just focus on their goals first. Serve others first. I think you'll build more relationship capital, build more connection currency, and give back more. Right?
Wonderful.
The more you give, the more you get.
That's
true. That's what I believe.
Amen.
Amen.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you.
That was wonderful. I appreciate it.
Thank you.